Good afternoon, gamers. Jero here, back again. More VOD reviews. Got a new competitor in the arena today. We've got Soul, who actually seems like they stream quite a bit, and they do not stream in English. So I thought this would be a particularly good chance to maybe get some commentary on matches that they play for the English speakers. My understanding of this is that this was just a practice match. I did not see any kind of like tournament software while I was doing my prep, kind of scouring before and after the video. So I think this is just a practice match, but that does not mean that there's not plenty that we can learn from it. Uh, so we will go ahead and get things rolling. Looks like we are starting on God-Willow versus... Eventually I'm going to have all of these memorized. God-Willow makes a lot of sense as the Yasuo one, though, for the obvious reasons of... I think most people conclude the right way to build Yasuo is to do the when you're attacking or defending alone power-ups. When you conquer here, you may spend a buff to draw a card. Yeah, that for sure is going to be the Sett one. The Monastery. All right. It looks like... Oh, well, we're definitely going to mulligan here. Looks like we're on the play. Oh, he's going to have to move. I'm pretty sure I saw that he moved his camera at some point. So we're going to just assume he does. But Soul was on the play this game, and we led on our mask into our 3-drop that gets the same buff. So we are attacking or defending alone as a 5 at the moment, I believe. Let me verify that. So yeah, this seems to be the avenue that a lot of the Yasuo decks lean into. I'm not sure how I feel about that exactly. I kind of think I prefer a flooding the board angle, but I think it's still pretty valuable to see how other people are operating when a friendly unit attacks or defends alone. Yep, so our wielder will at the moment have 5 might when it is attacking or defending on its own. They did move their camera, and we did play Cythria. Our draw is unfortunately quite bad. We are going to need to get these find your centers out of the way sooner rather than later. But if our opponent spends their turn doing what they're doing, Kiana in base, hidden. Oh, that Defy is really good. That means, yeah, we can do... I think without this Defy, I think it's... We probably would do it anyways because it's just our 3 cost. But I think it's like pretty likely this is the destroy to draw 2, right? Okay, so we're up to 5. Yep. So they're targeting our guy, but I think now that we've drawn the Defy, we just play that there, yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense because I think we want to reinforce this Sona onto God-Willow. That looks like a really strong play to me. It kind of takes away from our Defend Alone buff, but they're only going to have 5 might at the moment, I think. Yeah, I think this is the right play. I like this. It makes it a little more likely that we hold God-Willow. And at least if they're going to take over God-Willow, we get presumably the Kiana destroyed. I guess if they had like a might, it would be particularly problematic. But, I mean, what are you going to do? Our hand is terrible, right? Oh, they ended up not reinforcing. Interesting. I mean, it is only a 2 might difference. Oh, it's actually only a 1 might difference. Yeah, you're probably obliged to not reinforce them. I like this play by Soul. My gut instinct is to reinforce, but we've already leaned into this. It's only a 1 might difference, and you risk losing your Sona for 1 might. I agree that that's not worth it. We do want to play these Find Your Centers. That's kind of the only thing that I would really be thinking about here, is you get to ready your resources with Sona, and you know that he's going to try and take over at least a battlefield. Where do they have victory points here? Is it just, it's this, right? I guess it's 2 versus 4. I don't think he already has 4 victory points, though, does he? Yeah, he might, actually. And we claimed with Sona, so yeah, those are victory points, 3 versus 4. Interesting. Yep. And then we are, I assume, zone using, right? Yes, for sure protecting our Sona. So, yeah. And now we get to find your center again, assuming they start a chain for us somewhere. I like this. All of these decisions make a lot of sense to me. We are putting orange Sett onto the battlefield in our base. I feel like the opponent's being pretty passive. I mean, I guess if they don't have anything, they don't have anything, right? But so they are show stopping. Yeah, we just find your center. I agree. Take advantage of getting focus past us. We draw our card. Ride the Wind, pretty good draw. That's definitely something we can make use of. Down it goes. And we've got this Folk, so I don't really see, oh, they were sending everything at the Sona. We are 6 because of, or 5 because of our mask. Trade with Sona makes a lot of sense, and Hourglass are on back. Call to Glory. So they basically really wanted to put a priority on keeping their Kiana around. I'm not sure I agree, because then you just lose the other 2 units after combat, because you decide where you do combat damage at the end. My gut instinct would have been to just let the Kiana trade, but we could take over both battlefields here. No, that seems like a potentially strong play. 3, 6, 7. Yeah, we definitely could. We could Folk one, Ride the Wind the other. Not immediately clear to me that that's worth it. Yep, this makes sense to me. Make them spin their buff. And we're up a ton of resources now. We have so many extra resources in play. And we have more cards in hand. We've kind of dominated this game. The Sett just hasn't been able to build a board that was relevant. I'm a little surprised we... That turn was really strange to me. I feel like I missed something. Let's backtrack a little bit. About 30 seconds. See if that puts us... So a little bit more. How did we deal with this Kiana? The Sona was already... Oh, yeah, the Sona was already in our base. I was thinking the Sona was in our hand for some reason. Okay, so we could fast forward through that back. Okay. And then we use Yasuo ability to cast green Yasuo and then move it into God-Willow, which makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I think saving this Folk Ride the Wind combo is going to end up being really good. It kind of guarantees. So we've set up a really good win condition here. So we're 5 victory points to 4. And because of the mask, we're representing 5 might and 7 might. And if they can't take both of them, we hold go to 6. No, I guess that doesn't work, right? So this is really unlikely for us. We can't actually win next turn. I'm thinking we should be able to set up at least one hold, though, which is really important. And then with Feyfolk, we can almost guarantee the take of the other one if they have any kind of accelerate action. Alright. So they're buffing Sett. I think that's fine. They are sending Sett at our Yasuo. With another showstopper. Okay. This is... Am I missing something? This isn't enough, right? Let me... Showstopper! Buff a friendly unit in your base, then move it to a battlefield. I wonder what I'm missing there. That doesn't look like enough to me. So we are playing Ride the Wind, and we are doing that because I guess we're assuming that they're never going to attack without having something. So we're giving them credit for one of their cards in their hand being Might. I guess my issue with that, though, is doesn't that mean... If I'm understanding the board state correct, and their Sett was only a 5, and they were sending it into our 7 Yasuo, because... I mean, that doesn't even make sense, right? Couldn't we make them play the Might first? I mean, I realize Ride the Wind is an action, but the chain would reset. They would play Might, it would be 9 versus 7, and then we could Ride the Wind. I can't help but think I must be misunderstanding how that combat is working. But as it stands here, we're still in an excellent spot. Sona has claimed right. We are conquering left. And with opponent only at 5 victory points, we should have 0.8 secured because they're going to have to conquer both battlefields. Now, we've used Ride the Wind. Oh, that's interesting. Interesting line. And I think that this works because we get to ready our 4 resources with Sona, so we still get to sit on Discipline. This line makes a lot of sense because the Yasuo almost guarantees a take by itself. And then our hold is still 5 might and 7 might respectively. So yeah, this is really strong. This is really, really strong. With our Yasuo ability, we should have double take secured. Because how are they only going to spend 5 resources? Take over... Yeah. GG's typed in. Really well played by Soul there. I still didn't quite understand that one combat. But really well played. That one showstopper combat, I think I'm just misunderstanding something about it. But... Alright, so... How are we sideboarding? How are we sideboarding? Looks like a stack deck is coming out. Looks like a Rebuke is coming out. I think Rebuke was one of the cards in the sideboard, so he just decided against wanting access to it. Fading Memories coming out. On Guard coming out. Okay. Beating Sett on Harana is a really big deal. Really, really big deal. That's their best battlefield usually. So that's a really strong sign of power here. Really strong sign of power. And then we've got Dreaming Tree, versus Hillock. Units here have ganking. Beautiful. All right, into the game, into the game. They are going nice and quick. This hand is pretty horrible. Having the mask is nice, but you really want at least a unit you can play by your second turn. The Sona is a good draw. I still feel like, I mean, if our opponent goes turn 1 unit into turn 2 unit, we could be in some trouble for sure, just because our Sona is going to be slow off the ground. Let me make sure I understand what Rebuke is, because that is a card we sideboarded in, I'm pretty sure. Make sure we got all the angles covered. Rebuke is return a unit at a battlefield to its owner's hand. All right. That is, as an action card, I actually think that makes a decent bit of sense. It's double recycle cost, so it's very expensive on your resources, but it lines up so well, I think, against the expensive buffed units that your opponent's trying to fight with, right? I mean, having them expend resources to buff, like, a Sett, for example, an orange Sett, and you just getting to bounce that back to their hand is really powerful. So, yep, they're starting with exactly what we were kind of afraid of. Rookie into Kiana. Really powerful start for the opponents. Really, really powerful start for the opponent. We are, I assume, just gonna jam Sona here. I don't see much reason. I don't think this is a turn where we need to sit on Rebuke. I don't even think we particularly need to sit on Defy, but I think we will just because we have it accidentally. Interesting. Wait. Oh, very interesting. So we just wanted to aggressively fight for the board. Now that is very interesting because now we're going to force them to have a card to trade for the Kiana. Interesting. I like this play. I think this is better than my play. I think this is better than my play. I'd even kind of voiced that I don't think sitting on Defy is particularly important this turn. I think that's still true. So this way here, you get to spend all of your resources. I think that's really strong. And we are just playing Sett. That means we're not attacking right. That means we're just going after Dreaming Tree, I assume, unless they're afraid. I can't imagine they're not going to conquer left. It just seems like free value. I mean, I guess they're afraid of Yasuo ability, right? But you've got to conquer. That's like the whole point. Like, I don't understand what sitting on a ready Kiana accomplishes. I know it feels bad if you think the Kiana is just going to die, but all right, what did we... Oh, we called a gloried. Yup, call to glory. All right, so Sona goes on in. Easy cleanup, and we get to ready our resources. Really, really strong turn. And then because we have 6 resources next turn, if we don't have to recycle anything, we even have access to green Yasuo next turn. We're hidden blading? Interesting. I maybe would have let that happen. I guess not. I guess this is still fine. Yeah, I mean, what else are we playing? Oh, we're reinforcing another Sett. Yellow Sett on Dreaming Tree. I'm going to set up a pause here. This looks like a pretty big turn. So we're at 7 resources, and our opponent has built up a very, very strong defense at Dreaming Tree. I wonder if there's any merit to... Let's see, the Sett is buffed. Yellow Sett's not buffed. I guess... Let me make sure I understand the text on this bad boy. I get 1 life for each buffed friendly unit at my battlefield. Yeah, so it is 6 currently. Yeah, that is very, very big board. Kind of feel like we might have to use some of our spells here. We're definitely not doing any drawing off Dreaming Tree, unfortunately. It's just Yasuo, right? Yeah, it's just green Yasuo. I think this is kind of what you have to do. I think this is what you have to do. Thankfully, the Sona lets us get a lot of tempo in. We get to play a lot of spells this turn. Pretty big deal. We for sure have to let them hold. There is no world where we're fighting over Dreaming Tree at the moment. We do have ganking here, so we can potentially set something up next turn if need be, but I think we're kind of just chilling. Card quantity is like pretty even. They're up a few resources, not even true anymore after this turn, and now they're MFing us. They are just playing legend after legend. Let's make sure I understand what this MF text does. Could accelerate, did accelerate. Ganking, first time I move each turn, you may ready something else that's exhausted. Oh, wow. Alright. So how are they going in? So they're sending 5 at Sona. Presumably they have something, because I don't think they want to just trade. I guess maybe they're okay trading. Now, are we doing this on our unit or theirs? Where it looks like we're hovering it on ours. Which I think makes sense, because we should be able to set up the Yasuo attack, which is very important. So they go up to 3 victory points. They already held on left, so they can't get another victory point this turn. So they're probably just going to leave the Sett ready. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. You have ganking here, so I think reinforcing with your MF would be fine, since Hillock gives you ganking. But yeah, I guess this is the other problem, right? Is I guess that doesn't even work, because Yasuo is just going to run over. Like, so what would have happened if... It would have just been way worse, right, if you reinforce, because the Yasuo gets to use the ability to remove the buff, and then you still get to shoot down the MF. So yeah, of course the opponent makes the right play. That was actually silly of me to suggest. You cannot actually reinforce there. The Yasuo on board just dominates that play. Yasuo looking very strong here. I do not believe that I have seen a Yasuo deck pop off to this level. It doesn't seem like the Sett draws have been bad either. They've played Call to Glory both games. They've played Kiana early in the game both games. Pretty impressive showing, honestly. Very impressive. So we have 5 versus, and it looks like we're just rebuking their Sett back to their hand. Yes, we are. Pick up that orange Sett, please. Now, I'm going to go and get a preemptive pause in, because we are playing another card that I am unfamiliar with, which is Kayn. And is there going to be any value to that on our next turn? Because if we can keep this Sona protected and have access to big unit plus Defy, that is a pretty good win condition for us. Where is this Kayn unit? Here we go. Ganking... If I've moved twice this turn, I don't take damage. So particularly good with Yasuo. Interesting. Alright. Particularly good with Ride the Wind as well. Alright. What is the enemy lining up? Let me set up a nice little pause there. I don't actually recognize that card. Arena Bar. Buff an exhausted friendly unit. I see, I see. Alright. And we Hidden Blades the Sona. And we choose to not defy that, which I think makes sense. Because we've already got Dreaming Tree on this other Sona. Alright. Opponent only at 4 victory points. We hold, go up to 6. So we're not Find Your Centering, at least immediately. They've only got the 1 buffed unit, so this is only a 7. Or is it only a 6? Because we're a 7, so we wouldn't trade. Yeah, so it looks like it was just a 6. So they exhaust, take the buff. This should be exhausted. Yep, perfect. And then do we just... I guess we can't move, right? Because it wouldn't be readied. It's only 2 battlefield. I wonder if we were supposed to reinforce. No, I guess because we're already holding. This all makes sense to me. So we're just playing another mask. And we are putting down Hourglass on... It's got to be on Yone's side, yes. And then now we are sitting on this Defy, and we get to ready 4 resources. Very, very strong. Very, very strong. And yeah, our opponents, I mean, they've got a board, but kind of think we have all the angles covered. Replaying the Sett, that's not going to do anything. This was a very impressive showing from the Yasuo deck. Very, very impressive showing. Glory Seeker not going to accomplish anything. I don't even know if they can prevent us from just double holding, right? 6 versus... Yep. The FF is announced. Really, really well played. Really, this is my first time watching any of Soul's gameplay, and I'm very impressed here. I am very, very, very impressed. A couple interesting points to mention. I think when we had seen previous Yasuo decks on the channel, they were doing the mask plus mechanic or whatever this card's name is in the bottom right here. But I felt like they were having a really hard time defending the units that they were putting into play. Now, that could have been a matchup thing, but I felt like Soul did a really, really good job of, once he won a combat and held, retreating his units, or always having a plan to protect them, because your cards just don't do anything. Like, the mask doesn't do anything if you're wasting multiple turns just putting units into your base and then attacking one at a time, and then immediately... So it's a 2-turn cycle, right? To play a unit, and then for it to ready, and then be able to attack. So you need to eliminate that liability. You need to play your unit, and then always be able to protect or defend it, so you're getting value out of this card. So this card becomes a card advantage element to your deck if you're constantly getting procs out of it, right? I mean, you can compare it to something like a Discipline or an On Guard, where this card pays for itself once you start getting that second or third proc on it. But if you're not maximizing that value, you just end up down a million resources. Because we actually outcarded the Sett player both games, which, outcarding the Sett player, I think, in this second game, with these battlefields, not that impressive, right? I think, like, both people, in theory, should be able to use Dreaming Tree effectively the same. But in the last game, we outcarded them, even when they started on Monastery, which is pretty rare. Usually the Sett deck kind of snowballs really hard on Monastery. So that was really impressive. Yasuo is an archetype that I think a lot of people are interested in, because Yasuo is just like a fan favorite, right? And I think this is an excellent starting point. We even had a good clip of the deck, right? because we saw the sideboarding. So yeah, you could, I mean, pause frame there when he's doing his sideboarding in the VOD review and have access to this deck list. And I think this is an excellent starting point. I think it helps that it looked like he played fantastically. I felt like I learned a lot from watching that set of games. All right, so that was a fast 2-0 set, and I think that is going to do it for us today. But I think those games are excellent, and if you also kind of liked what you saw, go ahead and throw out a like, a comment, and subscribe. It does help the channel out quite a bit. I would appreciate it very much. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Peace!